Hi guys, and welcome back to another one of my videos. Today I'll be talking about the iFlight Albatross antenna, what happened with it, how I broke it, and how I fixed it, as well as a bit of a design improvement suggestion for iFlight for the future of these antennas. So what happened was I had one of these antennas on my Bob 57. The drone crashed because of me and it fell upside down, so most likely the antenna fell into the ground first. It was also quite dirty. It had some earth on the top section as well as on the sides, so I think it fell into some moderately soft mud, and after that it just didn't work. I didn't know what it was, but whenever I flew away, just a couple of 100 meters or so, nothing special, the performance was like really bad. I had signal losses, I had glitches and all of that, and I thought, okay, there's something wrong with this antenna, I'll just buy a new one. I bought a new antenna, which was essentially this one here, and I kept the broken one for future fixing because I knew I was going to fix it at some point. I just didn't have the time at that point in time. So what I did today was I took this housing off to reveal what's inside, and essentially this is what's inside. I've already potted this so we can still see what's inside because it's clear, but essentially what happened was because this top part fell like that, it had a strong push against this side, it managed to break loose on the inside, so you can see this black disc that goes all the way around. I guess this is probably glued on the inside, but in my case that managed to slip off because I could rotate it, so I could hold the shaft of the antenna and just rotate the top and it would spin. And so I thought, okay, well, that's not a big deal. But what actually happened was that this antenna became a little bit shorter, and that's because the top just jammed itself inside a couple of millimeters, and that was enough to essentially cause the signal strips, I don't know what you call them, but parts of this antenna to like start touching the next one down, right? So imagine this is like a spring, so when you push down on this, some of these will eventually touch, right? Obviously that will cause some issues because the antenna will no longer be tuned to 5.8 whatever frequency. It will instead be on a completely different frequency. I don't know what it could have been, and that kind of explains why the antenna worked partially but not fully, but it's almost like just not having an antenna, I guess. Just to explain, the inside of this antenna is an RPSMA, and that part is connected to the top of the antenna, and the bottom is connected to the ground, which is everything that's like housing, the shielding on this here. I don't know what material it's made of, but anyway. So when I opened this up, quite destructively again, I saw that some of these were touching, and that immediately explained to me that this antenna was broken, but could be salvaged. However, there was an easier way, of course, to check whether or not this antenna was or wasn't broken, and that is with the help of a multimeter. If you have one of these handy, I strongly suggest you get one. They are really useful for anything in this hobby. If you don't have one, get one. I think my one is still available. This is a super cheap one. I think it cost me like 20 or 30 pounds on Amazon, and it still works with the original batteries that I bought 7 years ago. Like, it's a pretty good device. It's very efficient, at least. So you put this into continuity check. Usually that's indicated by this tiny little logo that looks like it's putting out sound or Wi-Fi. But what will happen is, if you don't know, if you touch the probes, then it will start beeping, and that will indicate to you that you have continuity. So the way to check this would be very easy. You just hold the, let's say, the ground pin or whatever. It doesn't really matter because we're checking continuity. And if there is continuity between the inside pin and the outside housing, of the RPSMA or SMA connector, then in that case, your antenna might be broken here. But it's salvageable. And the way that you can fix this, if you wanted to fix this, there is a less destructive way to remove this, or two ways. One is you get a scalpel, and then let me zoom in here like this. So you get a scalpel, and then you cut along the top edge, right? So that will make sure that this cap can come off, because this is just a cap essentially, and it will come off, and you'll see it's like keyed in two positions, on one side and on the other side. So you can take this cap off. But I think what's even easier than trying to use a scalpel and potentially damaging the antenna or, you know, cutting yourself is to just take some hot glue, glue it onto the top, then put something like the end of a screwdriver, you know, just put it flat against it and just let it cool. The hot glue is strong enough if used in the right way. You don't have to use something like CA glue, because that might not be as easily as hot glue to remove. And then what you just have to do is you just have to pull on the top whilst holding the shaft, or maybe even better, holding the mushroom top, because that will allow you to kind of just pull this out and, you know, take the cap off. After you do that, you can just slide this part back. You just kind of like slide it down, and that will reveal what's here. You can then bend these back using some tweezers, make sure that they're not touching. So once again, if I zoom in, you can see that here, you don't want this to touch that, okay? Like, you want to make sure that there's a bit of a gap. And then once you do that, you might want to use some CA glue or something to make sure that this doesn't happen again. However, and this is basically my suggestion for iFlight, just pot these antennas. You know, it's not so difficult. Just before, you know, just put some potting compound on the bottom, slide the cap in, some of it will flow through. All you have to do is here, I don't know if I can show this to you. I know it looks a little bit odd, reminds us of a particular thing. But anyway, put some holes here, 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 and here, so that the potting compound can flow through when you slide this in, and then it will basically fill up the bottom, slide into the top, fill it up a little bit on the top, put the cap back on, and this is a super solid antenna, and this will never break like it did before. If I knew this, probably would have fixed it earlier. It's not a very difficult fix. I'm pretty sure that anyone can do it. If I can do it, so can you. But yeah, just a little bit of a design improvement suggestion for iFlight. And yeah, I hope this helped you in diagnosing your antennas. Maybe they're not as broken as you think. Thanks for watching.